Well, this is something a little bit different, isn't it? I'm uncomfortable. No, it's fine. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Hannah. I had one competing season last year in toned figure, hopefully moving to athletic figure. Less about that. If you want to know more about that, follow the vlog series. However, today I'm doing a little bit of something different, a little sit down video about tips and tricks that I've picked up. Bodybuilding beauty on a budget. All the bees. Bzz. I posted on social media because recently I have been helping a few friends that I met last year in just doing a few bits themselves and gaining a bit of confidence with some tips and tricks, because we're in a cost of living crisis. Bodybuilding is expensive as it is. The kind of show day packages, as amazing as they are, you're talking £70 for a tan, between £50 and £100 for makeup and hair. Nobody has that money right now. And if I can do anything to kind of relieve some of that kind of financial burden of competing and give people a few tips to help them feel confident enough to do this themselves, then I'm absolutely going to do that, because I do a lot of my tanning and my makeup and my hair myself. I have done towards the end of last year in a couple of early shows actually. Where she got the confidence to do that, I'm not sure, but here we are. I've written a couple of pages of tips and tricks and I'm going to go through them now. So I'm going to cover at home tanning, DIY tanning, the skin preparation before that. I'm going to talk through hair removal. I'm going to talk through the actual technique of at-home tanning that I find is the best. I'm going to talk through a little bit of, if you're going to get your tan done professionally, things to expect, things to do, sleeping arrangements with your tan. Believe me, that is a thing. I'm also going to go through tan removal, back-to-back shows, and specifically getting a tan done for PCA Birmingham. Any shows by PCA that happen in Birmingham, because there's a few specific hints and tips that I've picked up there. I've not competed in Birmingham myself, but having attended shows there and having attended the gym where they do predominantly do their tanning, I've got a few tips for being around there as well. So I'm going to get started. Okay, so skin prep. You're going to want to exfoliate and moisturise from at least 6 weeks out. You cannot do enough skin prep. If you want to prep your skin from 12 weeks out, amazing, gold star for you. You cannot do too much of this, but this all depends on how sensitive your skin is. My skin isn't sensitive at all. It's very middle of the road, does nothing, reacts to nothing. I'm very fortunate, but I start exfoliating and moisturising like a mother from about 6 weeks out. I don't do any self-tan in that time, and I am a prolific tanner. I don't know why I'm so out of breath today. Wow, off season. The moisturiser that I'm using is Aqueous Cream. Oh my God, I feel like such an influencer. Aqueous Cream, it's really, really cheap. You find it in B&M, Home Bargains. You can also find it on the Compact website. You can pick this up for a couple of quid from there, or similar prices at some of those cheaper retailers. It is fragrance-free, lanolin-free, whatever that is. But it's a very, very thick moisturiser. And you want to lather yourself in this for the 6 weeks running up to your show. You cannot do this too much. As you get leaner, your skin becomes more sensitive, it becomes more dry. So whilst I advocate for exfoliating a lot in those 6 weeks, practically every time I am showering, I'm exfoliating lightly at that point. Go with as much as your skin will allow you, but I'm also always doing this. I also told myself that post-show I'd keep that up.
You are a liar, actress.
I didn't. Whilst I'm showering in that skin prep phase, I'm using Sanex 0%. Again, this is another fragrance-free shower gel. Fragrance-free, pretty much nothing to it, but what this is doing, it's got nothing that's going to react with your tan. So in that lead up, your skin is as pure as it's going to be. You're taking all of the risk of having a bad tan out of that. So that's what I'm doing in my kind of skin prep phase. I'm also shaving less, I suppose, just so that my skin isn't being aggravated by any shaving. And to be honest, when you're that lean, trying to get a razor in your armpits is just absolutely not. I'm talking about this from a shaving perspective. You might want to wax or use hair removal creams. Personally, I shave. We're trying to keep some costs down here. Hair removal creams don't actually go that far when you are doing your entire body. And when I say your entire body, I truly mean it. I'm going to come on to that shortly. Shaving works for me. You've just got to be very, very careful. It depends on what you currently do and what your skin reacts with best. I wouldn't be doing anything that I don't normally do at this point. If you've got the time to get into like a waxing routine and that's the road that you want to take, by all means do that, but definitely get into that routine long before you start prepping for a show, because you don't know how your skin's going to react and it's just not worth the risk. In terms of exfoliator, in the bodybuilding industry, we get hammered with bodybuilding products, and whilst Tough Stuff by Coco Brown and Get Buffed by Protan are constantly rammed down our throats, I don't feel like I've ever had any different experience from using them as opposed to a cheaper exfoliator like a scrub in the shower, as long as it's as gentle and simple as some of the other products that I've already mentioned. You shouldn't really have a problem. Supposedly, Get Buffed is a product that is made to be used with Protan and brings your tan that little bit darker, but I haven't experienced that myself when I've used it previously. The results that I have got from the processes that I'm going to show you haven't been used with Get Buffed, so I can't comment on how effective that is. Now, your DIY tanning products. To be able to do this at home, you are going to need your overnight base coat and your top coat, okay? These retail at, and I've got this from the Compact website, base coat retails at £22 from Compact. The top coat is exactly the same at £22. The Show Shine is £12 individually. I know you're thinking, Hannah mate, but we're trying to save money here. That will get through a load of shows. I don't know how long it will last if you do an off season. Oh, hold on, it expires in 2025. Fantastic, I will use that in 2 years time. These will last you, I don't want to bank on it and say 3 shows. I don't know whether I've used them for 3 shows. It will most certainly last you for 2 shows. Getting a professional tan can cost up to £70. I think across the federations that I've competed with, tans have been around £70 for the full package. So that is your base coat, your top coat and your glaze. Federations like PCA do offer you to just have a top coat with them, which I believe is around £30 to £35, and then you should get your glaze on top of that. If you take away anything from this and do your tan yourself, do pick the Show Shine up, because I have noticed this year, as people have been doing their own tans, they're getting refused their glaze side stage. And you need your glaze when you're on stage. That's what makes everything pop and shine and gives you that effect. So you do need this, whether you do it yourself, whether you get it side stage, that's essential. You can tell on stage who has glaze and who hasn't. Definitely pick some of that up. For the £12, it is worth having in your case. And like I've said, it will last you. Technique time. Firstly, before we go through technique, you're gonna want some of this. If you've had a pedicure, if you've had your nails done, if we're talking about cutting back on expense, you don't need to have acrylics done. Have them if you want them, but no one's going to be looking at your nails. Get some press-on nails and that will do the job. Clear top coat, pop that on your nails pre-tanning, just so that they don't stain, particularly if you've got a light colour, because if you have spent the money, you don't want to ruin it with a tan. Your technique, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of shows in the UK fall on a Sunday, so we're going to use that as our protocol for tanning. So the show is Sunday. I've chosen the shaving option. I'm going to do all of my shaving on the Friday morning. I will have a little helper with that shaving process, because you best believe I'm shaving everything. I'm shaving my back, I'm shaving my stomach, I'm shaving my chest, I'm shaving my butt, and everything in between. You don't have to do that. I must stress, you don't have to do that. You can only see it very close up. It doesn't necessarily come up in your pictures unless you have thick hair, but I do get rid of absolutely everything from here down. And you know what? I even dermaplane my face. So from here down, I will have no hair, no body hair whatsoever. So I've done that Friday morning. Friday night, I'm going in with the first base coat. You are going to need 1 Tupperware. I don't know how much you care about your Tupperwares, but maybe pick one that you don't mind getting stained. Although if you rinse it straight away, you can save it. However, I would try and avoid going near any water once you've started this process. Whilst this has got a spray lid, you don't want to use it. You don't want to use it. You want to shake it up and you want to empty it out. You don't have to do all of it. Do it bit by bit if you like, but you can also funnel that back in there if there's excess and you want to keep it for all those shows that I've said that this will last for. So pour it in. And what you're going to do for this base coat, because it is a liquid, it will go on so nicely. And what you are going to do is, for the purpose of the video, I haven't got one, but you're going to pop on a latex glove. You're going to put your mitt on top of the latex glove. And when you've got your tanning product in there, you basically want a Tupperware that you can fit your hand flat in. So you see that? That's the kind of size we're going for. And you can dab in there, take any excess off if you want to, and then you're going to put that straight on. You can do that in circular motions, you can do that up and down. It's so dark, you will be able to see exactly where you've been. So there won't be any confusion that you've missed a bit. You want to be on a surface that either you don't mind staining, like a black towel, or you want to be on, I don't know, kitchen tiles that are anything that you can wipe down. Everything is pretty much water-based. It comes off your skin, therefore it will come off the floor. But if you are a little bit unsure, definitely on a black towel or a surface that you can wipe down. So that's the technique. You've got your base coat in there and you are just gonna circular motions or straight up and down. If you haven't got anyone to help you, this is the perfect size for a spatula. Just saying. And you can get in those little nooks and crannies in the top of your back if you don't have anyone to help you. By all means, do a run through with other tans or with this product before show day so that you just feel that little bit more confident. But that is the technique that I use. So that will be going back into my bottle overnight. You're going to sleep in that first coat of base coat. Pop some black bed sheets on your bed. If you're staying elsewhere, pick up some cheap black bed sheets. I always go for Super King or king size because any hotels, you're going to cover all your bases then in case they've only got double beds. I have got a bronzy. Now we're talking about saving money. I was gifted this for my birthday from some friends, but I think these retail at about £65. They are very good, but they're not essential. So if you haven't got the budget for it, don't go for anything like that. All you need when you're tanning is a big baggy t-shirt and some bottoms that you're not bothered about getting ruined, although it does wash out, but you know, don't come to me if it doesn't. So you've slept in that base coat. It is Saturday morning. You, at some point on that Saturday, depending on what your protocol is that day, it's whatever is going to work for you in that time. If you're traveling, you want to pick a time that's best for you to have your final shower. So you're going to have your final shower on the Saturday at some point, and then you are going to do your second coat of base coat. Overnight competition base coat. It's not the ultra dark. You can get an ultra dark version of this, but we are just talking about the standard. So that is your second coat of base coat. Sunday. It's Sunday morning. It's show day. You're buzzing. You're not washing anything off. That was the last shower you're going to have until you come off stage. Top coat. Top coat applied in the morning. Depending on what your coach wants, you might do a check-in before that, after that, but the application of the top coat is exactly the same. This creates a foam. Honestly, it is not worth the hassle. Pour it in and apply it in exactly the same way as you did before with the latex glove to get a real streak-free, even top coat, and try and look after this one. Don't panic if there are any marks in it whatsoever, but do your best to protect this one, okay? And that is your at-home DIY tan. Pack this in your bag for show day. You may need it, you may need it. It may be provided for you. If you've done your own tan, you might be refused it. So just make sure that you've got that in your bag. All it is like a posing oil, and it is just a spritz situation. If you're not confident with doing that yourself and getting your back, get someone to do it for you. Very light spray will be just fine. If it goes on too heavy, you can always use this to even it out. It is no problem. And that, I think, is the DIY tan. I am going to come on now to if you are having a tan done. If you are having a tan that is provided by the Federation, I've got a few tips for you here as well. So we've covered black bed sheets. If you're traveling, you want to have the black bed sheets on. Please avoid those hotel fines because they will fine you. They'll see you coming a mile off as well because you'll be bright orange, and they will take every chance that they can to fine you for that. So make sure you've got the black bed sheets. On top of the black bed sheets, and I'm saying this at this point because this seems to be more when you've got a spray tan. My experience of having spray tans done by PCA and through NFM is that they're very wet in consistency. It takes ages to dry. You stand there and you're still not dry. It just takes forever, and it does print. So when you're sleeping, I do sleep in 2 pairs of slipper socks, 1 pair on my hands and 1 pair on my feet, just to stop me in the night from putting handprints on myself. There is nothing that the tanning ladies can't fix, but why not avoid it anyway? If you do have a nightmare, don't worry about it, but I do tend to sleep in those, maybe a bronzy, maybe a big t-shirt on top of the black bed sheets. When I've had a spray tan provided by the Federation, I also sleep alone. I will get an apartment or a hotel room that's got 2 double beds in it so that Andy can get a good night's sleep, and I'm not printing on him. He's not taking my tan off. So that is something else to consider. PCA, specifically PCA Birmingham. If you look at the PCA show calendar, the majority of the shows are around the Birmingham area. You've got PCA first timers, occasionally Worlds. It is the hub for a lot of bodybuilding, so you will find a lot of shows are in Birmingham. Now, specifically PCA use Emporium Gym on Tyburn Road for their tanning. It is a nightmare to park. If you are attending a tanning session there, I highly recommend getting dropped off and getting picked up afterwards. I recommend heading to parking that is just before the garage on Tyburn Road. If you're listening to this and you're like, what the fuck is she on about? Trust me, there are some parking opportunities before you get to the SO garage on Tyburn Road. A lot easier, but if you can get dropped off, it's so much easier. Your partners, your friends and family, whoever is with you on that day, can be entertained elsewhere. The Star City is not too far away. That has got everything they could possibly need to keep them entertained for a couple of hours. And when I say a couple of hours, I really mean it. You'll probably be there a couple of hours. Don't bank on your session being when the session says. It won't happen. So send your partners and friends and family off to do something else. It frees up that road for everybody else that cannot do that. There's more people to park there, but you don't have to park right outside the gym. You can park right at the top of the road or right at the bottom and walk up, as long as you're covered up for the weather. Take your meals with you. Like I just said, it can be super busy if you're having a tan done by the Federation. Don't get caught up in being there longer than you thought and being starving and affecting how you could look on show day. So take everything with you that you would have consumed in those couple of hours and just get it in there. Rest your legs and sit down if you can, but if you can't, just stay calm and take it all in. Prepare to be naked in front of everyone. If you are having a tan provided by the Federation, Prepare to be extremely naked and feel slightly vulnerable in front of people that you have never met of the same gender. You're not going to have your boobies out in front of all the willies, but be mentally prepared if that is something that makes you uncomfortable, that you will be having a spray tan, bending over, everything out in front of people that you have never met. I will say, however, though, that is one of the most liberating things that you can ever do and makes you feel great afterwards. And you make lots of friends out of it because you've just all been through a very weird and wonderful experience that not a lot of other people have. So do try and look at the positives of that, but be prepared that you will be super naked and very, very cold. It doesn't matter whether it's summer or not, that spray tan goes on like ice and you will still sweat. It doesn't matter whether you're hot or not. I think that is one of the things that prevents that tan from drying quickly, is that you are just slightly sweating because of the environment that you're in. It won't look like it, you won't feel like it, but you are. So just try and stay as calm as you can throughout that process. If you are bleach blonde, thank me later. Thank me later. They'll give you a hairnet. If you're bleach blonde, you need a shower cap. It will stain your hair. It will be really obvious to you, not necessarily on stage, but if you're paying a lot of money to bleach your hair, cover it with a shower cap. Don't fuff about with the hairnets and take the risk. Don't panic if there are any imperfections with that tan. I'll let you know a little secret here. Well, it's not a secret because everybody saw. I dropped a shiwi at my first timers show. I dropped a shiwi at the British finals down my tan, which created a massive white streak down the back of my leg, down to my skin colour. Ripped through the top coat and 2 coats of tan. Extremely obvious, extremely obvious. And I panicked, and I didn't need to panic because the ladies' side stage sorted me out. I'd had one tan with through the federation, my first timers. I paid the money and they sorted me out. I did my own tan for the British finals because I wanted to cut down on costs. They still sorted it out for me, regardless of what their tan situation is, whether you've done your own or whether they've provided it. I highly doubt, but I can't confirm, but I highly doubt the ladies that do the tanning will let you on stage with an imperfection like that. Everybody wants you to have a great day, and there is nothing that they cannot sort. I've done it twice. I've thought I've absolutely ruined it, and they have still managed to sort it out. So do try and protect it, but if you fuck it up, don't worry. You need to stay as calm as possible on show day, and worrying about something that can be rectified is just not something to do. So don't panic. Tan removal. I haven't got any with me right now, but I can recommend 2 very good tan removers. One is by Bondi Sands, one is by Coco Brown. They both retail at about £10 from Boots. The most effective I've seen them is when I have got in the shower after a show day whilst my top coat is still on, and I have put that all over myself and stood there for as long as it recommends me to, or at a point where I start to get uncomfortable. Because remember, you've done all of that skin preparation. Your skin is quite sensitive at that point anyway. They are very good, and they do tend to take things off quite evenly. But I would always say, don't scrub yourself to death. Don't scrub yourself to death trying to get this tan off. If you stick to your moisturising routine, as you have done, and exfoliate as you've been doing for the weeks prior, that thing should come off quite evenly. Remember as well that you go through periods of shows being really busy. April tends to be a very busy time of the year. September is also a very busy time of the year for competing. The people that are applying these tans know that the chances are you've done back-to-back shows. You get lean, you do a period of competing, you don't stay lean for long, you cram shows into that time where you want to stay in show condition. They're very aware that people do that. So don't scrub yourself to death in that period and make your skin super sensitive, very sore, or you're going to have a hard time because your hormones are raging As you get leaner, you will become more sensitive and your skin will become drier. It's just not worth hurting your skin. Do look after it in that sense. On that topic of shows being particularly busy throughout April and September, if you are going to do your own tan, do pick these up ASAP, because there are periods of the year where you cannot get hold of this kind of stuff and you don't want to leave it too late. And I must say, I think the last time I used these was October 2022 and they expire in May 2025. So they do last. They do last. Make sure that you pick them up early so that you can avoid any kind of disappointment. You don't want to go without them. And I think those are my at-home tanning tips. I hope that was helpful. If there are any questions or anything that anyone wants me to go through on a different topic with hair and beauty and tanning, I am going to come in with another video on a DIY stage makeup look that is very, very simple, really easy, and some of my money saving tips there. But for now, I think I'm going to leave you with tanning. But if there is anything that anyone wants me to cover, as always, drop something in the comments, DM me on Instagram, anything you like. I'm all ears and I love talking about this stuff and I love helping people. So if there is anything that I can ever talk about without you falling asleep, do just get in touch.